On this episode of Geek Dad Life, we're going to look at the new Target exclusive Movie Star Turtles re-release set from Playmates and see how they stack up to the original Movie Star figures. Hello everybody and welcome to Geek Dad Life. It's your host, Jay Glatfelter here. This channel shares the nostalgic and geeky passions of an 80s and 90s kid that grew up to be a geek dad. So be sure to hit like, hit subscribe, and click on that bell icon to be notified when the latest episode of Geek Dad Life drops. I have said it before, but I adore the live-action 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film. And honestly, is my favorite media representation of the Turtles so far. Yes, even more than the original cartoon. When Playmates revealed and released the first Movie Star Turtles in 1992, my head exploded. I was blown away. These figures looked like the Turtles from the movie, and it was so cool to my little kid brain. Fast forward to 2021, and those Movie Star Turtles honestly are still some of my favorite toys released by Playmates back in the day. I have just about every single release except for Splinter, funny enough. But all the others, I have a few childhood survivors. My Leo and my Mikey are my childhood survivors. And while NECA has done an amazing job bringing us realistic looking action figures from the TMNT movies, those Movie Star Turtles are still #1 in my heart. Unfortunately, the Playmates of 2021 is not the Playmates of the late 80s and early 90s, and they really haven't done too much with the Turtles line except for re-releasing a lot of the core figures from the 1988 10-backs. And while that's great for those that don't have those old school Turtle figures, I still have mine from when I was a kid, and honestly, Playmates has re-released those Turtles a billion times. But this set re-releases those amazing Movie Star Turtles, and that actually finally caught my eye and made me want to purchase one of these retro box sets from Playmates. When looking at the pictures online, they honestly didn't look too great. There's definitely some differences compared to my original Movie Star Turtles. So now that I have this box set in hand, I really want to see how these toys compare to the original ones that they're inspired by. For starters, one of the main appeals of these retro box sets is the cool kind of carrying case box that they come in, and this one is no exception. It is the subway car that they found in TMNT 2, Secret of the Ooze, and I think it's a really neat little box, kind of shows the Turtles inside it, really nice artwork, and honestly is a really nice feature ad for this set. The figures are tightly packed within that box, so just be careful if you really want to keep these mint on card. And once I have all of the figures out, it is a really nice, homage to those original Movie Star figures. Now, really, these card backs are based on the ones that came with just the Turtles. The Splinter and Shredder had different card backs. Funny enough, the Super Shredder, Tokar and Razor came out a year before the Movie Star Turtles. So the Super Shredder never came on that kind of cool Movie Star card back that the Turtles did. The card back is different as well. Instead of being, unique to the figure that you're getting, it kind of encompasses all the figures as part of this box set. The differences to the originals don't stop at the card backs. The figures and accessories themselves are different. With the accessories for the Turtles, they get the 88 Turtles weapons rack, which is a bummer because one of the big improvements that the Movie Star Turtles did was give us really nice kind of bendy weapons, especially with the Michelangelo, which everybody knows those original nunchucks would break just by looking at it the wrong way. And even still, when trying to put these nunchucks in the hands of this new Movie Star Mike, it was a really stressful experience. Maybe it's just flashbacks to when I was a kid. Those original Movie Star Turtles also came with a can of ooze, unique shields, some new weapons. I mean, really, this is one of the first bummers from this set is the fact that the Turtles come with the 88 accessories. This could have been a cost-cutting move, but I do think it was a big miss here. Playmates really should have given us those original accessories. This is a step backwards for these Movie Star Turtles and is a big bummer. One bright spot here is the Super Shredder. He does come with the same accessories that the original one did, so that's a nice bonus here, but again, it's a shame we couldn't have that across the board. Looking at the figures themselves, there is some good and some absolutely horrible with these figures. Let's start out with good. So I really think the Super Shredder here is the star of the set when comparing him to the vintage counterpart. It's almost identical. Really, there's nothing here that makes you think this is a lesser than the original, but it is a little bit different, a little bit more gummy on the accessories. But overall, I think it looks really good and comes across really well. And then the other two good figures I think from this set are the Leonardo and Donatello movie star turtles. I think they come across pretty well. Their colors are not the same, but are pretty close. And aside from things like the original 88 accessories and the harnesses being a little bit loose, I think overall they come across pretty well. Now, some problems for these turtles are the same for the other ones. I think it's not as rubbery as the original ones. It makes them a little bit stiffer. This is really present in the neck articulation. Really, the head can't move at all. Maybe a little bit of left and right, so that is a bit of a bummer. So again, I wish they would have gotten the mix right on the rubber, because I think it's such an essential component to these movie star turtles, and these re-releases do not have that same feel of those original ones. But still, I think when looking at this entire set, the Super Shredder, Leo, and Donatello are really solid figures. And again, this whole set's $44, so this is like $7.50 a figure. So overall, I think those are pretty good. Now to the bad. Two of these turtles I think just don't look right to me. One of those is the Raphael, and the other is Michelangelo, obviously. And the colors are just way off in person, especially when you put them side by side with their vintage counterparts. Raphael is way too of a bright green, and Michelangelo's like a really light lime green. It just looks really bad. Like, it seems like one of those knockoff figures that have been all over eBay for years. I actually have one of those knockoff Michelangelos, so putting it in this mix, you can see it's not as bad as those, but still, like, I would not feel comfortable having one of these on my shelf because I think it just looks that bad. The sculpting is fine. Again, they use the same body for all four of these turtles, unlike the original movie stars that do have unique sculpting details throughout. But again, the color choices here are just so off that it makes it seem like a knockoff figure. And I think that's a real bummer because, again, the movie star turtles are kind of legendary toys from that original Playmates line, and it would have been nice for them to maybe put a little more effort to get those colors just right. And the last figure in this set that I honestly can say is one of the worst figures I have reviewed on this channel. Actually, it's not one of, it is the worst figure I've ever reviewed on this channel. And it's, I guess they're calling this a movie star Splinter, but it's not even close. They basically repainted or redecoed the original 88 Splinter. And if anybody knows the original movie star Splinter, it was a new sculpt, it was flocked, and it honestly looked pretty good compared to the Splinter we saw in the movie. This one is not even close, and I really kind of question why they thought repainting the 88 Splinter and trying to pass it off as the movie star Splinter. I mean, at that point, if you didn't have the sculpt and you didn't want to put the effort into it, give us somebody else. Maybe you could have done the Foot Soldier or something like that. Even putting the choice to kind of rehash this 88 Splinter, trying to make him the movie star Splinter aside, the paint applications are just bizarre. The hands are a really light color, but it cuts off at the articulation point, or the swivel point, and then his feet are also in this light kind of fleshy color, and it just looks really weird being painted on the 88 sculpt for Splinter. And then his tail is all gray, but again, it's just casted in that gray plastic, and once it joins to the brown body, it just looks really bad. I mean, this thing is an abomination. It doesn't even look like a real full-fledged retail toy. It looks like a knockoff toy, and I think that's just a really sad disappointment here. If you didn't have a sculptor, didn't want to do it, they should have went with something else, because really, I think this thing kind of drags down this box set. So while I appreciate Playmates trying to give us, a re-release of figures that they haven't done in a long time, I really wish they would have taken the time to do it right. Now, while this set is, under $50, it is a Target exclusive, which will make it hard to find. But I would have paid double that if we were getting really nice versions of these figures. And in this case, they just come across really cheap, lesser than versions of the originals. And outside of the Super Shredder, all of the other ones pale in comparison to their vintage counterparts, and I think that's a shame, because for me, the movie star turtles from the original Playmates line is some of the best stuff they did back then. And really, if they were going to bring it back, it should honor that work that Playmates did in their heyday with the TMNT line. So I hate doing it, but this set is going to get the rare not buy recommendation from Geek Dad Life. I think, you know, if you're going to spend your money, get the originals. They are that much better. And, I'll give these to my kids. They'll be able to play with them. But even I think they would think these kind of pale in comparison to many other TMNT toys that are out there today. So what do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you think this is kind of a disappointment here for this set? Or do you think that I'm wrong? Let me know down in the comments sections below. And as always, check out some of my other videos, like one of my more recent videos, as well as this one that YouTube wants you to check out. And until next time, hasta luego and goodbye.